very consistently been actually intentionally practicing this, but I wanted to make mention here of something sometimes called neurogenic tremor. It might also be known as tension relief exercises or trauma release exercises. And this tremoring is one of them. And basically it's just creating an environment for your body, inviting it by certain postures or posture to shake, to naturally release whatever tension it has by just shaking. And this is very powerful. And I was, for a while, enraptured in a thought of how, in non-dual kind of terms, there is nothing to release anywhere. I also did a video about this, and there are times in which that's true. But on other relative levels, you are still coming at all of this with a body that is wired in certain ways, that has habits, that has been cultivated by habits that you are no longer probably engaging in to that degree, or doing so and being confused by, or questioning in general. And these types of exercises can really help just reset. And especially recently, I think I mentioned this somewhere else, I've had experiences where it's just coming up on its own in a certain moment, that I'm just starting to strongly, as not to say violently, I don't want to misuse that word, but to some degrees it is violent, just shake. And the important thing is that it's not a bad thing. It can be a bit overwhelming, and the important thing is that you know, and you can just show your body and your mind, you have the power to stop this. This is not an involuntary physical movement. It's about relaxing into it, and then it does do its own thing, but you totally have the power to just reactivate your muscles or to just stop it. So it's not something to be afraid of. It's not something that is overcoming you and going to endanger you at some point. You can take control if you need. And before you get afraid, you should do that and just show your body and your mind that everything is fine. But I'm mentioning it now because I've been feeling actually very happy and excited, and especially for me, rediscovering after hormone treatment, rediscovering my cycle. I'm noticing these trends in mood that I didn't have while I was on the pill. And for example, in the pre-ovulation period with high estrogen, high serotonin, dopamine, oxytocin, all that, I'm feeling a lot of joy and giddiness that I'm not used to dealing with. So it actually kind of frightened me, and is just unfamiliar. So this particularly is something that's making me remember, oh, this neurogenic tremor exercise, and just shaking, and not just having it come up in certain moments, which is also very powerful and wonderful when that happens. But that's not very frequent for me. It's happened twice now. So I was just thinking, oh, I want to actually take some time and lay down and do this exercise. I'm by no means an expert at all, as I have just illustrated. So if you're interested in it, you can definitely look it up, and there's a lot of instruction and also just material of just how people are going through it, and that's really interesting to see. And this is just a suggestion I'm throwing out there because I just came up for me, came back to mind, and I wanted to engage in it. And I figured I might as well talk about it. And it just feels really good to do this. And, you know, the right kind of good, the sustainable kind of good, not a temporary high that brings a low type of good. It's a deep experience with the body, and it's just so harmonizing because the body knows so many things that the mind has no idea of, and that the mind actively actually blocks with its pretentious claim to knowledge. And this type of exercise is something where what you're doing is you're putting yourself, note the metaphor, in the hands of the natural anatomy and its wisdom. So you're letting your body, you're just giving the opportunity to your body, opening the stage in a way for it to let things flow and happen as they must. There's a lot of constraints. You have a body, things are connected in some ways they're not. There's a lot of constraints happening here. So when we are always thinking that we know with our mind what to do with our bodies, we're adding more constraints when actually the mind is the part that should be, for this kind of exercise, for relaxation, for releasing, and for all that kind of stuff. The job of the mind is to humble itself and to get out of the way as much as possible. And also to be treated with kindness, but to just recognize it's not its time right now. And to just try to not disengage in that sense, but to just not try to take over as it usually does. And there are many subtle ways in which it tries to take over as well. But so this kind of exercise, just, laying down or, sitting up as well. There's a specific posture that tends to be recommended. You're laying on your back with the feet, with the legs angled or the legs in a butterfly type position, and tensing the muscles, lifting the pelvis a bit and relaxing it, and then shaking in this position. And there are certainly good reasons that I can't tell you why that's what's often chosen, especially for the beginning. And I'm just a beginner inviting other beginners or inviting pre-beginners to become. And so I'm gonna go do that now. And even though on another relative level, there is nowhere for anything to shake, there is nothing to be released into anything else, it's still important to not bypass the state your body is in right now, and to give it the attention and work and care that it's asking for, even if you might not know that that's what it's asking for. But trying these types of exercises, like with the focusing and this tremoring, and also just meditative practices, body scanning and mindfulness, and just whatever it is, just stillness in the body. Something that we often don't realize we're really lacking, and that could just do us a lot of good to get our priorities straight and to start acting from a place that is not a plan concocted by the mind, but from a place that is delocalized and decentralized. because the more you're relaxing and the more you're letting nature be nature, the more you are humbling the ego and letting the true wisdom of just everything in your presence co-shape each other and itself. And can be another way also to, for example, regard work toward non-dual insight as something that the mind is not involved in. I'm not saying that this is a way to become enlightened or something like that. That's not the angle I'm trying to come at here, or come from here. But we're just so used to our mind and relying on it. So whatever you're going to try to do, even if you're trying to be spiritual or something, the one who's doing that is the mind, because you're used to that. So actively engaging in exercises where it's the body speaking can bring together body and mind and just harmonize. And it's just really healthy and healing.